to Get Real. This is our final episode, and this is on breaking up. Once again, we have our lovely panel of youth workers here. This is Rebs. Rebs is engaged to get married very soon. This is Dan on the end. He is single. This is Jack and Jess. They've been going out for about a year. My name is Laura, and this is Andy, and we are married.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so today's session is on breaking up. Does anyone have any good breakup stories? Awkward breakups, embarrassing breakups, painful breakups?
I had a bit of an awkward breakup one time when I was probably about 11, 12, and I was dating a girl, and I was chatting to my friends in the playground after school and saying, you know, I'm not sure this is working, I'm not sure where this is going. I'm thinking, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm thinking about breaking up with her. They then just go, and just leg it across the playground, straight to this girl. I didn't even know she was there, but straight to this girl, through the crowd, and they just shouted at her, "Jack's breaking up with you!" And I just thought at that moment, well, I may as well commit. So I just looked across the playground and just went, sorry. That was my worst breakup.
Jack, I see your awkward story and I raise you my awkward story. When I was 16, I was going out with a girl, and I decided I was going to break up with her. I've been talking to one of my best mates about the whole relationship and stuff, and I made this decision that I was going to break up with her, but I text my mate to let him know. And I sent the text saying, "Hey mate, just letting you know, I'm definitely going to break up with her." Sent the text, and as I sent it, realised that I didn't send it to my mate, but I sent it to her. What made it worse is I was sat with her the moment she pulled her phone out of the bag and started to read it. It was painful.
So bad.
It was painful. Needless to say, I had to just roll with it.
How did you deal with that, Laura?
It was awful.
Okay, so we're going to talk about breaking up today. One stereotype that I think as girls hear a lot is that guys really struggle to commit to relationships because they kind of just eye up loads of other girls. They can't stay in one relationship. They're always looking at other girls. Yeah. Would you guys say, is that true? Is that something you struggle with?
Yeah, so it's I think it's something that people say that guys have wandering eyes.
Right.
So I think what's important is that guys seem to be visually stimulated. I think that would be like visually stimulated by the things that they look at. That's what's sometimes they might get pleasure from that. But I think it's important for guys, you know, when you do look at something, you know, something that you might think that is pretty or beautiful, then it's important that you don't have a second look. If you get, it's almost like you're bouncing guys. So it's not like you look and then you continue to look, or it's not like you look away and then go, oh, I'm going to look again. It's important to have bouncing guys and not take that second look.
That's good,
sometimes you
really
can't
good.
help. Sometimes you can't help that first look. I think it's even true amongst girls maybe that sometimes you can't help that first look. But it's important that you don't have that second look.
Right.
I'd stop it there.
Yeah, that's great. That's really
not
helpful.
like just staring at somebody as they walk on.
That would be fun.
That's creepy, innit? Creepy. Bounce those eyes, boys.
Okay, so I'd love to talk for a little about how to break up well. My worst breakup, I was on the receiving end of the breakup. I went out with this guy in secondary school and I really liked him, like too much really, like to the point of probably a little bit obsessed. And I really, really liked him, and he was in the year below me. And I can remember, because we were in different years, we had different classes at the same time. And I remember hearing a rumour that he was going to break up with me, but everyone else in his year and my year had heard the same rumour. So what had happened was everybody except me knew when and where this was going to happen. So I remember standing in the middle of a ring of 2 years worth of people surrounding me, watching me. And he didn't even do it himself. He sent his best friend into the middle of this ring, and I was just stood there opposite him. And they were just like, oh, whoever, they've said you're dumped. And I think I was so upset, I went, well, I don't care. And he's like, Andy said you were a rubbish kisser. And like 2 years worth of people hear this story. story. It was just awful. Like, it was one of those soul-destroying moments. Just bad breakup 101. So how would you say that you break up with someone well? Like, what's the opposite of that? How do you break up well with people?
Well, I think, like what you said, it's the opposite of that.
Just not that.
Yeah, whatever Laura just said, don't do it. Just do everything opposite. So I think the way that you can break up with someone well is by being honest with them, talking to them and only them. Don't talk to loads of other people. Don't talk to your whole year group. Don't necessarily talk to your whole friendship group. Maybe if there is emotions and stuff going on that you do need to talk to, then find a trusted friend who you can kind of confide in, but do it face to face so you don't have any kind of miscommunication over text or miscommunication where you might send it to the wrong person. Actually do talk to people face to face, and actually if you're gonna break up with someone, do it face to face. Do it in a respectful way, in a caring way. Because actually when you get into a relationship with someone, you have their heart, and it's your job to protect their heart. And even when you break up with someone, it's not like you're being like, well, I don't want this anymore. You still need to be respectful and caring and stuff. And actually what you want to do is help them and protect them. Even when you are breaking up with them, you don't want to really hurt them or upset them. So just really think about how you're going to be respectful. Be completely honest about how you're feeling as well, and do it face to face.
That's really good.
And I think just to add to that, like, if you don't believe that it's right for you two to be together, then they are potentially someone else's husband or wife. And the way that you break up with them could mean that they have to deal with stuff.
That's really
true. And you've got to think, well, if somebody's breaking up with my future wife or husband, how would I want them to break up with her or him? And think that through and treat them like that.
That's really good.
So do you think then you can break up with someone and still be friends?
I would say no, based on my experience, because I don't know many or any situations really where you might break up with someone and then you remain really close friends. At least I do understand that if you remain, you want to be you can be friends with them, but I wouldn't say be really close. Because I think like you were saying, you've got to give them space. When you break up with someone, they're carrying that baggage from that relationship, and then that's something that they've got to go and deal with. And if you're then still trying to be like, oh, we're broken up, but we can still be friends, can't we? And they're still, the scars are still there, the pain is still there. Like, they can forgive, but as humans we don't forget, and I'm not saying that they can't be healing from that, but actually that will just bring back bad memories. And I think you can be civil to people, you can be nice to people, but to be really close friends with someone, I think will just bring up kind of bad memories really, and can damage your next relationships. You've also got to be thinking about, I've broken up with this person, pointing at Andy, I don't know. I've broken up with Andy, but you think, I've broken up with this person, and then you're going and looking for someone else, and you find someone else, and you think, actually I could marry this person, but you're still really close friends with the person you just broke up with. You've got to think about the next person's feelings. Do you know what I mean? The next person you're going to be dating, the person you might marry. If you're really close friends, or think about the other way around. Do you know what I mean? If you are marrying someone who's really close with an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend, you're going to feel a bit hard. Like, it's going to be difficult to process that. And it's going to be something really difficult. So for me, I think be nice to them. Don't try and work through it so you don't need to be bitter every time you think of them. But actually, I think it's personally unwise to remain close friends after you've broken up with someone.
That's great. And what about if someone breaks up with you and you get really hurt? How do you deal with that well?
That's really hard, isn't it? I think I remember when I broke my ankle. And, different. But I nearly fell off then as well. But when I went to the hospital, they put my leg in cast. And they said, don't put weight on it for 6 weeks. And for 6 weeks, I didn't walk on that leg because it was broken. And I think when you're hurt and when you're coming out of a relationship, you have to have a time where you rest and you allow the wound to heal. And the problem is, too many people go get broken and hurt in a relationship and go straight into a new relationship, thinking that will solve everything. And actually, you need time to rest, and you need time to heal, and you need time for God to minister to you and to bring healing to you. And I think, like, we saw a comedian a few years ago, and she was telling this gag, and she said the problem with relationships is they're like equations. You have to deal with the numbers that carry on. And I was like, whoa, that's deep. And she was like, she was talking about her divorce, and she said, I went into a new relationship thinking that all my baggage would disappear, and actually what happened was I took all my baggage with me into the next relationship.
Really
And it's
true.
like, we've got to find a way to deal with the baggage and deal with the stuff that has hurt us, and the things that have come up out of breaking up, and allowing God to speak into that. And I think a key is not torturing yourself. Like, you know, avoiding rom-coms. If you're in the midst of, like, if you post a breakup, like, don't listen to Heart FM. Like, late at night when it's I can be your hero, baby. Like, you're just sitting there crying your eyes out.
Eating
like,
ice cream.
Like, don't torture yourself. Avoid that kind of stuff for a season. Like, avoid certain radio songs. Don't listen to Ed Sheeran. Like, all that kind of stuff. Like, don't torture yourself, but allow yourself time to heal.
What about anyone else? Anyone else any baggage dealing advice? Like, if you kind of get hurt?
I think my previous relationship was really damaging. Wasn't a healthy relationship. He ended up being unfaithful, and kind of left me really, really broken, and feeling like damaged goods, really. And I think, like Andy was saying, time was definitely key to that. I needed time, in fact 2 years, and that wasn't, it didn't take 2 years to get over it, but essentially 2 years to actually deal through that baggage, to work through it, to have people who I could trust to talk about it, to allow God to heal a lot of things. And actually, it was, so even though it was 2 years later, it was still something that I had to address again when I got with Jack. And actually, to not treat Jack like my previous boyfriend, to not almost assume that he was going to do the same things, to not, when he looked at his phone, get anxious because that's how it was previously, but to almost let that, like you were saying about taking it into the next relationship, to leave that in the past and start afresh and treat Jack for who he is rather than who I thought he might be as well, really.
I mean, a couple of years ago I was in a really damaging relationship, and like I definitely carried baggage from that. And I'm not with anybody now, I'm single, but I think one of the things that I chose to do was I want to try and deal with this baggage. Whatever, it's not the person who I will be with, it's not their responsibility to deal with my baggage and make sure I can deal with that. I want to deal with that baggage before I get with that I end up with that person, so that she knows that I've dealt with it, but she's aware of what's gone on. But it's not. I'm not giving it to her and saying, "Here it is, make me feel better about it." I've dealt with that.
Yeah, that's right. And I think when you're a Christian, God asks for that from us. God promises to deal with that baggage, and it's not for us to work through or try and fix ourselves. But when you're in relationship with Jesus, He says, "Let me do that stuff in you. Work alongside me, let me love you, let me show you what you're worth and heal some of that brokenness as well." And I think there's only a certain amount actually of fixing of ourselves that we can do. And we get to a point where we get to the end of ourselves and just have to give the remainder to God. So I guess that is really what we wanted to share with you guys in this series. I hope it's been a great series, in the Get Real series. And we've been talking about breaking up today, but if this is the only one you've seen, make sure you catch the others. They're on YouTube. But we just want you to know that God created you for a relationship, for healthy relationship, for positive relationship. And if anything that we've spoken about throughout this series is something that's affected you, something maybe that's made you think a little bit more about what you're created for, your purpose, maybe even made you think about relationship with God for the first time, maybe, we would love you to chat to someone that you know that's a Christian, maybe a youth leader, maybe a friend, and to kind of talk some of those thoughts that you've got through with them. So thanks so much for listening. We have loved sharing a bit of our thoughts with you, and please do chat to someone if you feel you need to. Thanks a lot.